Okay guys, we're going to have a look at how the right elbow works in this video. So when we start, we always want to have a bit of bend in that right arm. So the elbow is going to point to my right hip, a little bit of bend in here. So I always want to have that feeling with the right arm that I'm bent in the elbow, bent in the wrist. That allows me to get the feeling that I'm going to come back in here and create some pressure on the ball. What we don't want to do is get this arm this way, too straight. If I lock out the elbow, I'll get that type of look. So the right forearm and the right shoulder be in front of the left. So I'm opening up my body too much. From the front, you'll get that inverted look in the body where you get the shape in the left side rather than this way. So when we're taking the grip, we always want to make sure the right arm's already bent and the right hand comes from a little bit from under. So I've got a little bit tuck in the right arm. So I've got it bent this way and just pinch slightly inwards this way. Okay, that gives me the feeling of where I want to get to at impact. So I start in that position with the right arm. That gets my shoulders online, it gets my forearms online. Okay, and it allows me to get the right body shape at the start. So when we start the swing, there is going to be some folding in that right arm. So there's a little bit of folding here. The elbow just very slightly away from my side at this point. So I'm starting the swing with the club head. You can see I'm just hinging back a little bit. There's a little bit of fold in this arm. Now as this right arm continues to fold here as I go up, the right elbow gets more and more away from my body. Okay, and basically I have to do that to really maintain the radius. So I've got my full bend here at the top, it's almost a right angle, maybe slightly wider. The right elbow is pointing down, but it's away from the side now. So that way I'm able to keep that radius the same. So for me the radius, it's easiest to think about the radius as the grip end of the club to the sternum here. So if I keep the right elbow too much on the side as I folded it, I get too narrow. Now a lot of people have learnt that they have to keep that right arm locked out straight on this backswing here. And this will actually get you too wide, and there's a good chance you'll start tilting the shoulders so that the sternum will get in front of the belly button so you get that inverted shape. So we don't want to do that. We want to let that right arm just fold slightly. Continue to fold up to the top. Like I said, we want to get about a right angle, maybe slightly wider than the right angle. This elbow's pointing down. So from the back angle, it's going to look this way, pinching that right elbow in a little bit, slightly bent. Set it this way. This is a small fold in the right arm. Continues to fold as the club goes up. I've created the distance here. This elbow's pointing more or less down to the ground. Okay, so we don't want to get the right elbow this way behind us, this way, pointing that way. It's got to be more pointing towards the ground. That'll get the shaft on the right plane. And we really want to feel, as we get up here, that the right elbow is staying pretty close to the left. There's not a big gap between the elbows here. They're more pushing together in that position. Okay, so that's where we want to get to at the top of the backswing. Now when we're starting down, we want to get that right elbow coming back down in front of the right hip. So in the first move down, as I start down here and move across, you can see this angle more or less stays the same in the first part of the downswing. We don't want to change this. We don't want to throw it away, get too wide with throwing all the power away, and we don't want to get stuck like this, okay, with the right elbow jammed on the body. It sort of stays more or less the same, this angle here. The right elbow will continue to come close to the body, and then as that happens, the arm starts to straighten again. So you're maintaining that radius again. At impact, there's still going to be a little bit of bend in the right arm, right wrist to create that pressure on the ball. And there's going to be a little bit more extension of the right arm going through. But it's not overextending this way. It's working around in a circle. And the right arm will look fairly straight at that point, and there'll be a little bit of fold at the end of the swing. So again, from the back, okay, as it works down, okay, I maintain that angle here in the very first part of the downswing. Now as the elbow starts to come close to the body, it starts to straighten again. Come into this position. Still got some bend in the right arm as I hit. Okay, so another interesting thing about the elbow, it really doesn't have to move that much. So if I start in this position here, look at the starting point of my elbow here. Now when I swing to the top of the backswing, you can see the elbow didn't move that much. So it's starting in this position here, and it's only moving to here. It's only about 20-30 centimeters. The right elbow shouldn't be doing all this extra work around behind the body this way. It's really just folding and working up, okay? And what that allows me to do is to turn the club upside down. So when I start, I've got the grip end up and the club head on the ground. But as I fold that right arm, now I've got the grip end lower, closer to the ground than the club head. So that gets the club up without having to do too much with the body, okay? So it's important to get that right elbow motion right, get it right at the start, tucked in a little bit bent, okay? As it continues to fold, it works away from the body, but it's always staying in front. So it's going to be in this position here, not here. So the seam here in my top, if we look at that, my elbow's always going to be on this side of it. It's never going to get behind that seam. So it starts in front of the seam here, and it stays on that in that position. See, the right elbow doesn't have to move a lot to really get the club head swinging a long way.